Hey guys, welcome back to the Unpolitical but Political podcast. I wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I can see that you guys are enjoying um the setting boundaries. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. It's made me so happy. Um, I go by the name Destiny, and today we're talking about self-care. Um, like the previous, this one is going to be a long podcast, an hour roughly, I would say. Um, but enjoy. So today's self-care, is actually funny because I was thinking about it today and I was just like, self-care for me is a big one. Um, for 2 years of my life, I have been trying to prioritize self-care because I do think it's really important. Um, I started going to the gym now, which is a big step for me. Um, but honestly, I feel like this is very important for someone like me and for whoever's watching or listening essentially. But this tip, self-care is like a very broad topic that I try to implement in my life. Like I try to put myself first in so many scenarios because I think that having that love for yourself and putting your mental health, your well-being, your health, and just practicing the true identity of self-care is so important. Like just having personal responsibility and self-reliance that positively impacts your health and your current moment or future, whatever it is so important. Like it doesn't have to be something big, it can also be something small, like just prioritizing you, um, I think is very important. For me personally, I think especially with my own like mental health, I have to put myself first all the time. And that goes back into setting boundaries, learning how to say no, doing what makes me happy, making sure that we're on surface level and people are respecting me and reciprocating me and, putting my thoughts and feelings into consideration and um, acknowledging when I need time to myself and stuff like that. That ties back into setting boundaries and also prioritizing self-care. So I guess a lot of my lifestyle factors are the gym, and being active and, you know, setting a goal for myself and like trying to achieve it and just being proactive, I guess. Um, I also think that self-care can be a form of so many other things. It doesn't have to be anything big, like I said. It could just be, taking yourself out on a little date, going to your favorite place, eating out, binge watching, um, going to activities, indulging and spending in something that you've always wanted. Um, Even just praising yourself is a form of self-care. I've learned that like every time I achieve something, like for example the gym, I've started to go to consistently for a few weeks now. But even just going to the gym, that's already an act of self-care and also praising myself and acknowledging my achievements and my you know and things that I have been able to achieve and my goals. Just praising myself and making myself feel good for that is already a form of self-care. Like it doesn't have to be, go to the gym, be happy, and then come out and then forget about all the achievements you made. Like progress, like celebrating your progress and your achievements is already a form of self-care. Like there's nothing that like doesn't like there's no detriment in doing that. Like you don't hurt yourself, you only make yourself feel better. And I think that's also a way of prioritizing your mental health. Um, and also taking time to like recognize what you've been able to achieve. Um, but yeah, that's like a form of self care. Um, Another thing that I think is also important is prioritizing your mental health, which is something that I also had to try and start doing as well, especially with the last 3 years that hasn't, well, with the previous, I wouldn't say previous, but like for the past 3 years, I have struggled with my mental health. And I would say candidly that the last 2 years, like both last year and this year, has been probably one of the most happiest years of my life. Like I've never felt more at ease. Um, Aside from like overthinking and worry and self-sabotage, which is something I'm working on, trust me. Um, I try to work on myself a lot and like understand myself and, keep myself centered and like keep my distance if I need to. But mental health for me is a big one because I try to drive a healthy mind, if that makes sense. Like I practice brain stimulating activities. Um I try to manage my stress or any um internal issues like um my blood pressure. If it goes too high sometimes, that can cause me like my stress can cause my blood pressure to rise. And if anyone didn't know this, but stress can actually kill you. That's like a fact that I found out about. Um, I don't know too much about it, but I did hear about someone talking about how stress can kill you because of how high your blood pressure can go. Um, but aside from that, like for me personally, I think when I started to prioritize my mental health in terms of self-care, I tried to, in terms of, I tried to just practice reminding myself about the things that I am grateful for. And I also try to write down like words of affirmation and like just try and remind myself of why I'm good enough and why keep myself sane in this life and keep myself alive. Um, and I try to participate in things that I enjoy, whether that be going to the gym, playing basketball, going back to athletics like I used to be. Um, Playing board games or playing music is something that helps me. I think music is also my escape. I blast music every day, like it's just a way for me to express how I feel. Because there's a lot of songs out there that I resonate with, um, whether it be a ballad or upbeat or Afrobeat or anything that's like slow and tempoed or on like upbeat, like I said, that helps me sort of get my mind off things. It blocks up any negative energy. I'm sure some of you can probably relate that music can really help you. I've realized that going to the gym has been like, I know I said this before, but it's been my escape because I, um, I think I overthink and worry so much on a daily. So sitting inside of my flat at uni is not helpful because of how heavy my brain is, like easily, like how active my brain is already in terms of how much I worry and everything. That just escalates and perpetuates more of my mental health issues, if that makes sense. So I try to engage in exercise and like, you know, as as of recently actually, I wrote a workout program, so I have something to look forward to when I go in the gym. Um, and my main goal at the moment is just trying to work on having the best, like the best physique, I guess, even though I already have one, not to that extent, but I'm trying to work on it and get more definition in my body so I look more athletic. So that's like a goal that I'm trying to aim for. Trying to keep it consistent and trying to not give up. Um, but yeah, just putting my mental health first. I'm like trying to design a more healthier lifestyle of mine and like put the most important things first and stop trying to control things that are uncontrollable and try to manage them instead, if that makes sense. And like, you know, um, and for anyone out there, just in case, if you are going through a mental health crisis, please do try and reach out, seek professional help, speak to someone that you can confide trust in, whether that be family, friends, associates, uh, just people who are close to you in general. Like from my own personal experience, I really hope that you do take this advice and you do eventually come out on the other side stronger and, you know, you do try to implement self-care and like, you know, at the end of the day, it's like the only thing that matters is you. And if you can just remember that you are worth something in this world and there's no point, you know, acting on a permanent issue to a temporary problem. Um, but yeah, it's just like, please do take my advice. And I know how it feels to be so low and underground and not feel like you want to be here and give up and, you know, hate yourself and the world. The world is already a shitty place. So please prioritize what's more important, like your mental health, like self-care, like your work, like just prioritize everything and put yourself first. Um, I think as well, in terms of self-care, I think one thing that's also helped me is trying to reduce my stress levels and, you know, increasing my self-worth and feelings of belongings, which is also important. So in terms of reduced stress levels, I mean putting my health and needs first. Um, and that can also go with, you know, giving myself a bit of time to rest and not feeling guilty for taking a break and not feeling guilty for, you know, lying in bed longer than I usually would and, um, not feeling guilty for, you know, getting adequate rest after, whether that be a long day, a short day, not doing anything at all. Like, I just try to not feel guilty for prioritizing my well-being. And with someone like me who has autism, like I said in the last podcast, I feel like for me personally, I get very overly stimulated and I don't get sensory issues, but I get overwhelmed with like too much noise sometimes or um too many people or if I have so much work to do or so many responsibilities to take care of in my daily life, I do get overwhelmed. Um, but those are just things that I try to like put in place to just reducing my stress levels when I'm taking things a step at a time and taking it day by day and not overdoing it because I think that's where it kind of takes a toll. Um, Another thing is increasing self-worth, which I think is important, you know, um, taking care of myself and doing things that make me feel better and feeling good about the person that I am and, you know, reminding myself of why I'm a good person and knowing my work, my intent and my worth and, you know, reading through my affirmations if that needs to be or watching something that I enjoy. Um, and yeah, just like reminding myself of why I am a good person and just the basic stuff like that. Another thing that I mentioned was feelings of belongings. So whether that be um, spending time with friends, family, or spending time with yourself and protecting your mental health and your peace. Um, for me personally, I'm an introvert, so I like to spend a lot of time alone. I can be an extrovert depending on the people I'm around. Um, but a lot of my life is around being an extrovert and doing things by myself and I enjoy quality time alone. Like I enjoy my own company. I enjoy just you know, exuding my own energy and like enjoying the person that I am, regardless of being around other people. Like I don't mind being around other people so long as you're positive, you know, you're there to make a positive impact on my life and, you know, um, and bring out the best in me the way I do. Just reciprocation, you know, is what I would appreciate. But I can be an extrovert depending on my circle, like I said. Um, I don't think everyone's worth my energy, if I have to be honest. Uh, but yeah, that is something that I try to. Those are the examples that I try to, practice whilst I, implement self-care in my life. Um, Another thing for me is um reducing my burnouts. So as an autistic person, this is very important for me. Um, I try to not overly do like certain things in my life. Like I try to, if I know I'm already tired and I say I'm tired, I expect people to respect that, and I expect myself to like take a break and not overdo it, or just practicing like not killing myself and like not putting myself at that detriment. I think is important. Um, and just finding like self-care strategies that are, you know, like that are prominent and paramount, you know, that can help me and make me feel better and sort of help me relax and essentially mediate, I believe could be the word. Um, and just coming back to a common ground and stuff. That helps me a lot. I try to improve, a much more of quality life, whether that be managing my health conditions, reducing stress, creating a greater sense of belonging, um, my overall well-being, getting adequate sleep, which is why I said I started going to the gym, because that kind of helps with those factors that sort of, come into my life. Um, Another thing is one thing that I would like to say as well with in terms of self-care. Um, I was thinking about this recently actually, and another thing that I started to do, it may be small to others, but for me it's really big. Because it took me so long to get to the stage in my life to understand, setting boundaries, self-care, putting your, like all of these things that I'm mentioning to you now, it took me so long to get here and to understand it and to understand why it's important and why it should be implemented in my life and how effective it can be in situations where you feel like the world is collapsing on your behalf. Um, but I was thinking about this recently, and I think it's really important. But another form of self-care is just being assertive with people. It may seem small to you, but it's really big on my side. Just being assertive with people, telling people how you really feel and like not beating around the bush. Um, and the way I see it, like life is too short to sit and dwell on something someone said. This goes back to setting boundaries as well. Like you need to learn how to set, you know, a strong barrier on your well-being and your mental health and hold people assertive on anything that they've done. And when you do hold them assertive, come to them at a common ground and like be respectful, don't hold it up on them like it's something that they meant to do intentionally, like just try and hold them accountable is what I'm trying to say. Because I feel like if you lay back from it and act like that never happened and you sort of go about your day, all you're going to be doing, I would say roughly throughout your day, is sitting and dwelling on what someone said because you did not tell them then and there how you felt. And the way that I see it is like if you sit and hold those feelings and like sort of suppress those feelings of how you feel about somebody else or or what someone said about you, you are most likely cutting your nose to spite your face. Like you are not like you're just trying to like hold up like a guard essentially. Like instead of saying it then and there, you expect them to know that they've hurt you. I think you reduce less tension when you open up about how you feel to people and tell them, hey, like I did not like when you said this. It doesn't have to be rude. you don't have to be rude, but you can say it in a way that helps them understand and helps them acknowledge that what they said did not make you happy or did not, you know, um, it didn't sit right with you is what I'm trying to say. So just trying to practice that can help as well. Um, Another form of self-care for me is identifying my coping strategies. So in ways that I go about my life, how do I cope with certain things, whether that be stress, health issues, just life problems in general, um, overthinking, um, for any of you out there who have panic attacks, that could be useful as well. Just identifying ways to um cope, like identifying ways to cope in those situations, like having anxiety. I remember when I was in therapy in 2022, I did the cognitive behavioral therapy, and one thing that my therapist mentioned to me was, if you're having any form of panic attack or anxiety, I don't suffer personally with a panic attack, but for any of you out there who do, this might be useful for you. Um, but I had really bad anxiety, especially throughout COVID. I developed really bad anxiety. I'm able to leave the house. But when I did attend therapy eventually, in the cognitive behavioral therapy, I was told that if you practice breathing techniques, um, or if you practice the what was it called? If you practice the what was it? What if I think it's called, or if then I forgot what it's called, but it's something along those lines. If you guys can like help me out in the comments, that will help as well. Um, what if what no what if I think is what it's called. Like when you say, what if this happens, then you know, like you just try and remind yourself that those things will never happen essentially. Um, and that's a good like coping strategy for any of the like any of the anxiety you might be going through. Like just reminding yourself that those things will never happen, and your anxiety is lying to you, and sort of bringing yourself back to common ground and like reassuring yourself and like reminding yourself that you are present in this life, and sometimes identifying um things around where like the environment you're in. So like, you know, if you look for your phone, or you look at the mirror, or you look at the door, you look at the window, you look at the curtains, you look at your bag, your coat, your bed, and just remind yourself where you are. That's also really helpful. Um, so those are things I think you can implement. Um, but overall, self-care is just, practicing the physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of your life, um, just to promote the health and wellness overall in your life. Um, and it can also be a lifestyle that, enables you as a person to set aside time for yourself and your health, and also reassure that, you're prioritizing your well-being, and, you do the right techniques to take care of yourself, and, be able to reap the benefits, and um, make a better physical and mental health um, aspect of your life, and prevent, the risk of diseases and any form of health issues that may, be prominent in your life. Um, so another form of health self-care could be, for me personally, I'm going to be candid, um, and just let you guys know why I'm talking about this, and, kind of speak on my experiences as well. But self-care for me is something that's very important, because if you guys don't know, I suffered with mental health really badly in 2022. Um, I went through a very hard time, and I had really bad anxiety. I was very suicidal, had very bad suicide ideations. Trigger warning, by the way. Um, just thought I would put that out there. But yeah, I was very suicidal. I was in hospital for majority. At some point, I got put on antidepressants, um, because had really bad anxiety, and I was also suffering with really bad depression. I was sleep deprived for a while. I didn't sleep at all. Um, I tried to like go days without eating. Like I was so depressed and like unhappy, overwhelmed, overthinking. You know, I was always scared that the next day was going to be like the previous. Never left the house, so I was housebound. Um, and for a while, it took me so long to get out of that place, and I felt like shit about myself, and like blamed everything on my autism, and like it was just not the place that I wanted to be. Um, and I just want you guys to know that I want my experience to help you understand that even though mental health can not be like it's not the best thing to go through. It's very detrimental. It's crippling. Um, it can really make you feel so low and um, make you question yourself and sort of, you know, it can sort of deprive you of your self-esteem and how you love yourself and stuff like that. I just think that my advice to anyone going through mental health out there, please remember, I know I mentioned this earlier, but please remember that like all of your problems are temporary. They won't last, they won't last you however many long, like it won't last you long. It only happens once. Um, please try to put yourself first. You know, self-care is so important, self-love, self-worth, mental health. All of those aspects are so important. Like just putting yourself first and reminding yourself of the goods. If I have to give you advice, please, write down, um, affirmations or write down things that you love about yourself or look in the mirror and, just tell, remind yourself, reassure yourself, say, or remind yourself of the things you're proud of, say that you love yourself, you know, just do anything under the sun to like bring yourself back to reality again. Um, one thing for me that helped me throughout mental health alone was don't like just take everything with a grain of salt. It may not be easy, but like if you're in certain situations, like just find coping techniques and like coping strategies. For me, my one is music, um, like I said, and sort of like I mentioned in my other podcast, it's not dying on the hill for people. I think that's also really helped me. Um, and yeah, just not as not sort of dwelling on certain things helped me a lot and moving forward from things and doing what makes me happy, which I think is very important because I lived most of my life trying to meet people's standards and dimming my light to meet people's standards and expectations and like trying to be the person who seeks external validation and I don't know, um I just live my life seeking, you know, external acceptance and trying to make people proud of me. And if they weren't proud of me, then I would ask them what else I needed to do, like to meet their standards, which was very fucked up of me. Um, but yeah, those are just. I guess this one was quite a short podcast, but this is very important. So emotional self-care is important, physical self-care, social self-care. So, sometimes. in certain situations we need to take a break from pressure. Um, um, that could be trying to keep up with friends, family, associates, people that are close to you. Um, and sometimes, going out and socializing or spending time with social media channels or being in group chats. Like sometimes during those times, you need to take a small break, and like social media is also another form of self-care. Like just trying to, take a break off social media can really help. I took a break for a few months actually. Um, I only just come back today, but I'm kind of on and off. I'm not like scrolling relentlessly through it now, especially because I started this podcast. Um, Another thing is stop comparing yourself to other people, please. Like they social media, for anyone out there, let me just make something clear. Social media is bullshit. It is a facade. It is fake. Everything is curated. People only show you what they want to show you. It's not, it's not a given. They're not pressured by their audience to show, this perfect life. They show you what they want to show you. Nothing is real. Everything is fake. Do not compare yourself to people on social media. You don't know what life they're going through behind closed doors. The way that they're living this, this perfect life aesthetic and this perfect being aesthetic. Trust me, they all wish they could look like that. They all wish that their life was, channeled in the way that they present it on social media. So please, guys, stop comparing yourself to other people. You are way more, you fulfill a better life when you just be authentic and be yourself. You know, you fulfill that void inside of you when you can just love yourself and accept who you are and accept that you are beautiful. Even if you do have insecurities, you are beautiful regardless. You are worth something in this world. Um, God put you on this planet. I know it may sound cliche, but God put you on this planet for so many reasons and so many reasons only because He knows that you have potential and you are able to make it through His challenges. Um, but yeah, don't compare yourself to people on social media. Um, I always say to myself, when I'm not on social media is try to encourage that internal critic and the ones that make us feel like we're not good enough, try to encourage it and just remind it that, look, I am good enough. No matter what you tell me, I am good enough. I am worth something in this world. I am capable of achieving lifelong goals and, you know, achieving things that people will never think were possible and achieving things that people thought I couldn't do. Um, Try to set like a time limit on every social media app. That's a form of self-care, putting your well-being and mental health first. For example, muting group chats that you might be in or unfollowing any social media accounts that make you feel, that don't make you feel empowered or inspired can also be good. Um, Another one is, if you're feeling tired or stressed, um, focus on things that keep you and like happy and, fulfill your void and, you know, rush your adrenaline and make you feel happy and increase your dopamine and stuff like that. Like those are also signs of your dopamine and endorphins. Those are also good. Um, Try doing yoga, just anything like a coping mechanism. Doing yoga, meditation, any relaxing techniques that can like put your mind off things for a while. Um, there's so many different things that you guys can do to help yourself and like I'm just giving you this advice because I need to hear it myself, if I have to be honest. Sometimes I forget that giving time to myself is more important than trying to fill everyone's cup and trying to fill everyone's void and, trying to be Superman and trying to save everybody else before myself. Um, I think putting yourself first is way more important. Um, another thing is, another thing I would say that's helped me and might help you guys too is I guess um for me personally, I think like overall, I believe that so long as you understand, I think self-care can go into a lot of different things. It doesn't have to just be what I mentioned. It can be something small, you know. For me personally, I started to implement making smoothies because I know they make me feel good. Um, I tried to um spend time making things that make me feel good, like whether that be a smoothie or your favorite sandwich or um going to buy your favorite, you know, salad bowl or anything, like just trying to do things that make you feel good internally and that channels your inner health that can help too. Um, another form of self-care is financial stuff. So like financial self-care is important. You know, this includes stuff like budgeting, financial planning, managing debt, um, and you know, um, sort of putting that first as well can help you because then you release the stress and you know just makes your financial life slightly easier in a way. Um, that's another one. Um, I guess the benefits of self-care is ensuring your health and happiness in life and knowing what it means to be happy and knowing what it means to put yourself first and um just taking better care of yourself. And also another thing is, you know, being kind to yourself as well is important. Um, just knowing how to be kinder to yourself. People use this analogy of talk to yourself like you would talk to your friends, family, pets, cousins, aunties, you know, an elderly on the street, or you know, that nice car, or whatever it is. Just sort of reciprocate those positive attributes onto yourself and not just use them on like superficial things or like other people. The way that you'll talk to other people and compliment things that you like, I expect, or we should expect to do that for ourselves. So that's another one. Um, there's a lot of forms of self-care, guys. Um, they always say that saying no to others and saying yes to yourself is also a form of self-care. It may be really hard, but when you feel obligated to say yes, when someone asks for your time or energy, if you're already stressed or overworked, saying yes to people that you love, or a coworker, or friends, or an associate, or just anyone around you can make you feel really burnt out, and can lead to anxiety, irritability, um, just anguish. Um, so I think, you know, taking time to practice how to say no politely and start making yourself feel more self-confident and taking care of yourself can be important. Um, you know, a lot of people take a self-care trip. So that means, you know, either getting in your car, driving around, or going outside of London or whatever it is, just going somewhere to sort of get away from reality can be good. Um, because it helps you feel disconnected and relaxed and can be rejuvenated. It doesn't have to be costly. It can just be simply a drive down to somewhere you've never been or somewhere that you would like to explore. Um, you know, you can even go camping nearby or go sight viewing or birds watching. Like, what's it called? Um, whatever it is, just anything. Um, that's a form of self-care. Spending time outside can help you reduce stress and lower your blood pressure and just live in the moment. That's also a form of self-care. Um, it can also help with depression or burnout. and it helps you sleep at night, and even just getting some form of physical activity done, like gardening, hiking, walking, running, jogging. you know it doesn't matter what it is, jumping, just anything can help you. um Being around animals as well is a form of self-care, like dogs specifically. Dogs are kind of good for prioritizing self-care, because they do you know they do a lot for our lives. Anyone out there who suffers with certain, disorders, or like PTSD, or, a disability, having like a service dog can help you, or an emotional service dog can help you. Because they just bring you back to common ground and sort of relax you. Um, a lot of people, science has proven that dogs can have, um, you sort of benefit from working daily with animals. Um, which is why they also say like service dogs are quite useful and effective. Um, Being organized is a form of self-care. Whether that be taking notes, putting things on the calendar, um, creating an area to keep your keys, your purses, your backpacks, your briefcase, your coats, your books if you go to school, your notes, whatever it is. Like these are just things that I think are useful for people. But those are things that I think you guys can implement in your life. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. We don't want to cause a burnout. Um, but yeah, um, that's mainly it, guys. I don't really have a lot to say for this one, but it has been quite a long podcast. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for listening. I've been Destiny. Please do go and check out my podcast now that's streaming on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify. And please go and do listen to, you know, the episode 1 that I posted about bullying. Please listen to setting boundaries, and yeah, just keep yourself updated for the next one. Um, I'll be posting this one right after I finish. Um, and I'll make sure I post it on, my other streaming platforms. Please go and give them a listen, guys. Let's get me up the ranking. I see that you guys are enjoying setting boundaries. Um, and yeah, if you have any, I put my email in my bio on my Spotify, so you can go and you can email me if you guys want to talk about your experiences, or collab, and we just have a conversation together about anything. Um, yeah, please feel free to share it as well. Share the podcast, let people know. Um, it doesn't have to be a lot of people, but please do share them around. Close friend, close cousin, anyone that you know of, please share this podcast to them. It's called the Unpolitical But Political Podcast. Um, and yeah, go and stream my podcast on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. This has been Self Care. And I'll see you on the next one. Keep yourself updated.